my new girlfriend. I put her here. And when they asked me to do a new suite for her, and I was like, yes, a dream come true. So thank you for this chance.
Earlier I was
I just wanted to say I've been working with him for a while now, and I know Alex has been really championing you and working with you, and I finally get to meet him in person for the first time after working for over a year. And someone it's always my favorite feeling in the world is coming.
Yeah.
Was that just him?
Awesome.
He gets a dozen emails from me, but this is the first time he can hear my terrible voice.
Yeah, I want to gush a little too because I love him so much. It's so nerve-wracking, especially to step on for people like Kelly Thompson and Brendan Fletcher, who are superstars. And I write this script, and I work with Daphne and the editors, and you do rounds and rounds and rounds of edits to make it perfect. And by the time I'm done with it, I'm sometimes just very nervous about the words I've written and very worried that I'm not going to do justice by the fans, or that I'm not telling the perspective I want to. And it's very nerve-wracking to be a writer for something that's so beloved, and then I get to see the art that Daniele does, and I'm all of my fears are just obliterated. His work, seeing what he can do with words that I wrote just gives me, it blows me away. It evaporates my fears. I'm just oh my God, if I could write something that made a person do that, I must not be as terrible as it's brilliant. You watching a really brilliant artist who has a lot of love for the characters that they're working with bring your words to life. Short of having a kid, I can't imagine there's anything else like it. It's crazy.
Thank you. But it's also so. It's the same for me, because when we started to work with the third issue, and it was wild, really wild, the third one, because everything happened in there, and everything is going to happen in the next one. So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's all the Pink Ranger team that is working on this series. It's really bound. It's right, yeah, and it's working so well. Also, Sarah, it's doing an amazing job on my line art. So I think that it's a great product. Oh, everything. Also the editors and the sub and everybody is cooperating to making a great piece of work. And, happy.
And real quick, guys, I just want to invite you guys, if you haven't checked out Pink, let this be a challenge to you. Simply on the teaser of, it is not only the return of Kimberly, but it's the return of Zach and Trini. And you'll actually see them running around as a kick-ass high-powered team.
When you read a comic book, I think the average amount of time the human eye spends on each panel is about 1 second, something like that, depending on how long it takes you to read. When you color comics, you spend many hours looking at every page, and I gotta tell you, I never ever get tired of looking at Danielle's work. It's an unconscionable amount of time, but it really is just looking at the way you draw this makes you better, Yeah.
Yeah.
So much of the emotion comes through. It goes into this note showing the eyes, which it was a great note, and so much emotion comes through, just widening the eyes, narrow the eyes, slight upturn of the mouth, and that's something that catches
I love physicality of them, even when they're masked and they're homeless and stuff, and it's them being surprised, because sometimes it's I'll write a joke, but they're all Power Rangers, they're in their helmets and stuff. So it's I've written this funny line, but they can't sell it with their faces, but he does such a good job if they sell it with being they're these funny moments where in the middle of yes, something really cool, they'll just stop and be you do the physical comedy of that really, really well. It just seamlessly blends in with all can I say badass? The badass, right?
No, better. You're not looking in the mirror for doing Kimberly, because Kimberly is beautiful and not a good reference.
Next issue, Kimberly with a beard.
Very silky.
Power Rangers Pink comic. That's a good segue so we can actually show some what's coming up for that series. If someone wants to take the lead and explain what this is the next issue, right?
Oh boy.
Nanciest cat.
I mean, I think Daniela put it nicely. Everything also happens in this issue. Everything happened in issue 3. And issue 4 is that times 2. I think you get to see Goldar's plan kind of come to fruition. You get to see way more monsters on a page than you've ever had before. You get to see Trini and Zach join Frey in a way that I almost don't want to spoil because it's going to be really awesome. And you might also see a return of a few favorites in an unexpected way. We also have these great 2 new characters who kind of got pulled into it against their will, and they really show up as heroes. And I think you're going to see a non-traditional Power Rangers team that embodies the traditional values of friendship and faith.
Hey Daphne, remind me the big evil destruction Frankenstein thing. That's already been revealed, right? 3, right?
Faunus.
Faunus.
Faunus built from the pieces of the Rangers' old Zords.
Season 3.
We weren't allowed to call him Frankenzoid, I'm sorry.
So yeah, just real quick, again, it's one of those continuity things of, and you're gonna see this played out certainly in issues 4 through 6, is the threat of Typhonus. So Typhonus is essentially an amalgamation of what do you get when you pick up the pieces of what was left over of the Thunder Zords and ultimately combine them to Cyclopsis, right? So the remnants of Cyclopsis, what kind of crazy new threat does that create? What does it take to pilot something like that, and why is Goldar using it? So.
So much time designing it and figuring out where each piece went, and that was also the best part of the process, was all the like reject Frankenzords before we got to Typhonus. Then I just had a collection of cool. Sorry.
No problem. It was fun. Very, very fun to do Typhonus, also because we had to do not just a mecha design, like inspired by the Japanese design, but something that looks like more like a monster. So I looked a lot to Evangelion because he has a more human structure, but so I can show more him like I don't know, a human, dependent on himself. So it was fun. But it's really hard to move it during the panels, but it works. So
We have some more slides. What else is coming up in Boom Power Rangers?
So 8. We don't want to spoil everything because it's so cool when you stumble on everything.
Boil it.
But 8 shows that the Rangers have been depowered in 7, and so they're trying to defeat Rita, who's taken over the command center. They're trying to save Billy, who's been kidnapped by Rita. They're trying to prevent their swords, who've been hijacked by this evil monster called the Black Dragon, from destroying all the major cities in the world. And so they've got a lot on their plate, really. And so Jason and Tommy work together to get Billy, as Trini and Zach work to try and find out what happened to Zordon and Alpha 5, and as well as save their Zords. And something happens at the end of the issue to give them kind of a leading edge. It's not their powers, they certainly get someone's powers back. So I think
Hey, yeah, Mel, let's do it.
so they get powered by the Green Ranger.
Oh my God!
And so it's really cool. You get to see our Rangers in their awesome outfits, but powered by Green Ranger energy, and it's amazing. It's going to be really awesome.
But how, why, and what the cost is, you're gonna have to read it.
Ooh. This is giving me chills.
When we solicited this image, we actually had it in silhouette because we didn't want to spoil it. And now I guess we do because it's such a cool image, and we wanted to give you guys something coming out here so early on a Sunday.
Thank you. Yeah. Like little me, like who was like again growing his hair out and tried to legally change his name to Tom. He's like freaking out. Right?
This is your team.
Yeah.
All green.
Tommy.
The cosplayer me from 10 years ago was like, I want to see that team. Like, someone made this costume.
Speaking of, there's actually, Daphne just showed me before we started the panel, there's somebody running around as the repowered Pink Ranger this weekend. I have not found this person. Please, 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 person, wherever you are, do not let me leave before we get a picture together.
There's also a Kim, like a Kim of issue 1 Kim, like a Mad Max Kim with like she's kind of like the leather jacket and the.
It looks really good.
You?
I was only that day.
You were amazing.
Really good.
Pictures of you. You were perfect. I thought I recognized you. Okay, that makes sense. You were amazing. She was amazing.
You have good taste in jackets.
You look kind of like a thing, like leather jacket chicks on motorcycles. Like that's like your cosplay thing. It works.
And we're actually going to have some special guests. The costume rangers are coming. They're going to come and take some pictures and stuff. But until then, let's start doing fan questions. There's a mic right over here. If you want to line up in an orderly fashion. And hey, how's it going, Red Ranger? What's your name?
My name's Jason as well.
Jason? Just awesome. His name's Jason.
So it's been really cool to see the backstory come around, and especially with the villains. I just wanted to know what challenges you had having with those, creating the backstory for like specifically the villains, or what limits on creative freedoms you have with that.
I can only speak to internally at Spawn. So the challenge in redefining some of these characters, really the biggest challenge is, do we have the gumption to do it in some respects, right? And we as a brand, we have to be very responsible to the original mythology, right? And certainly make wise decisions. If we're gonna make a major continuity change, why are we making that change? You know, we don't, this is something I really want to emphasize to the room. We don't play fast and loose. We're not like, I say this with all due love and respect as a lifelong comics fan as well. We don't play fast and loose with our continuity, and we're not going to reboot it in 2 years. That's certainly not to belittle anybody else that's doing this kind of stuff, but for us, we do have a very unique position. If you look at the last 23 seasons of Rangers, there is a through-line continuity in many respects, right? Things may take place in a side dimension like RPM, but there is still a through line, and we like to draw that through line. So really we have a lot of internal discussion. Goldar again is a great example, or Typhonus is another example. This new mystery thingy in issue 11 will be another example of that. But again, we're really just trying to tell the very best story possible. And much like the previous writers that have worked on the actual TV series, they inherit a mythology. We too look at it like we have inherited a very precious mythology, and we want to just again add as opposed to redact.
Cool, good question. Come up and get a gift. Hey, what's your name?
Hey, I'm Octavio.
Octavio, what's up?
Not too much, how are you?
Good.
This is for, I guess, all of you or whoever wants to answer. What do you think is required of someone to be a Power Ranger? What does it take for them to be a Power Ranger? And do you think you make for good Power Rangers?
Teeny.
What do I think is required to be a Power Ranger? I think Kim is dealing with that question in Pink. I think a lot of what I write in this series is Kim asking that question. We also see that question asked of people that fight alongside the Power Rangers. Anyone that's read 3 knows at the end there's been an unlikely alliance forged between Kimberly and someone who she would typically not ally herself with. Obviously the person's not a Power Ranger, but yeah, a lot of what I'm working with is, Kim asking herself that question. She left that behind, and then now she's returned to it, and she's asking, well, why? Like, why am I wanting to do it this way? Why am I surrounded by people that want to do it this way? Of all the ways you could save a life or save the day, why do it as a Power Ranger? What do I think what does Kim think that means? And ultimately, what do I think that means for Kim? And then I think a lot about what that means for myself. And I think, I read a lot of superhero comics. I really love superhero comics. I always have. And you see a lot of, people that can all hold their own, and then coming together as a team, and they bicker and they fight, and being a team is all about this balance of power. And I think being a Power Ranger is the exact opposite. It's like you work better as a team. Like you can do things, and they're all capable, brave, strong, caring, compassionate, intelligent, patient individuals. They're not all the best. They're not all at their best all of the time. Most of the early episodes are often like one of them falls. One of them maybe has a bad day and does something the way they ordinarily wouldn't, and their friends have to come help them out and support them. And I think that's kind of where Power Rangers differs from a lot of team books on the stands, like superhero books or things like that, is that there's no struggle in being part of the Power Rangers team. That's about, like when someone's struggling with being a Power Ranger, it's not really like you're never gonna get Power Rangers Civil War, that just I think is not in line with what the Power Rangers are about.
Coming in 2018.
I mean, I just don't think that's, if I were asked to write that, I would just feel like icky. Like that's just not, I think, what the Power Rangers are about. The Power Rangers are a team that works best as a team. And that's something that is a great virtue, because I know that, I work in comics, I'm always working on a team. I don't draw my own books, I don't color my own books, I don't edit my own books. I work with people that do that. And being a lot of creative people, a lot of creative types are not great at working on a team. And comics is unique because unless you want to sit in your basement and draw a book every year by yourself, and it'll take a year to do it all by yourself. You need to be good at working on a team. And for me, it's something, that was really gross. Sorry everyone, right in the mic. For me, that's like a thing that I always feel like I can pat myself on the back, because I think a lot of creative people can be kind of introverted and weird. When I can come out of my shell and be part of a team and make something better, I can step away and be like, good job, man, that was a good team and you helped. And I feel kind of like, maybe I could be a Power Ranger, because I feel good about that. I feel good when I can step away from my baser urges to be Rita Repulsa on my base by myself, making my little putty soldiers, and I can be like, no, team, let's be part of a good team. I think teamwork is kind of the core of being a Power Ranger. Very long answer to your question.
Yeah, great answer, thank you.